I mean, you know, my grandfather, again, going into Italy during World War II, Mount Vesuvius was erupting. Mount Vesuvius was exploding, and they were landing and had the Germans attacking them. I mean, you know, that's a volcano going off. The planet is not stable. And you've got a good point. Anything else, Randy?
I was watching the videos about Jesse Ventura going up to the Great Lakes, and the levels are dropping, and Lake Mead out west. And I know these globalists are building these underground bunkers all over the country to save their butts on our money. And I just wondered, do you think they might be putting that water underground?
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're doing all sorts of craziness. They've had our money since '47, unlimited amounts of it. So the sky's the limit. I mean, as bad as things are, we only know the tip of the iceberg. Imagine what we don't know. I appreciate your call. More calls coming up. We're going to have Robert Groden pop in as well. Stay with me.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones.
Look at your young men fighting.
Well, they've come out with a mouse with a human brain. They've got jellyfish monkeys. People are now eating salmon that's got other species in it. The government's moving to not let you even know what's in your food. Here's Fox News. Spanish researchers want to tag human embryos with barcodes. In futuristic movies like Aliens 2 and 12 Monkeys, prisoners are barcoded. Well, we are prisoners. For easy identification, what do you think your ID cards are? But today's reality is even wilder. Scientists have proposed barcoding embryos. And it goes through the government grants in Spain and other places. It says, but privacy experts and children's rights advocates were instantly concerned by the concept of direct labeling of embryos, calling for transparency in the process. The venture is meant to avoid mismatches during the in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer procedures. And they've got all these pills coming out with RFID in them. The Mexican Attorney General 6 years ago made his employees take implantable chips. In Afghanistan, they're making the Afghans all take an RFID card, and they admit it's to track them and control them. Well, what's wrong? You don't like being occupied slaves like we are here? We shift gears now to a great patriot being persecuted. I mean, he's such an icon, but he's so mild-mannered and mildly spoken that he never puts on airs. And I've been working on a JFK documentary for 5 years, but the rabbit hole goes so deep, I never finished it. But we're going to put it out. I just don't want to put crud out. And that's why more and more it's kind of like, not even writer's block. You know, I kind of worked on Police State 4, but some of the other guys really produced it. Burma's put out his Invisible Empire, which is great. But it's been over a year since I really made a film. And it's because I'm doing all these other videos and special reports, and we've shot over 50 interviews and never put them in films. That's why I've just been putting them on prisonplanet.tv. But Robert Groden was the House Assassination Committee photographic expert on staff. He, of course, was the main consultant on Oliver Stone's JFK film. He's the guy that got the Zapruder film and first leaked it. And you'll go out there to Dealey Plaza, and they'll allow homeless people, literally most of them schizophrenic, I mean, I've talked to them, sell newspapers, whatever they want, you know, tell you wild stories. Some of them are nice. Some of them are clearly out of their mind. I've seen them fighting with each other. Cops leave them alone. Robert Groden comes and tries to talk to people. They slap him in handcuffs. And, you know, you will not. And by the way, his old associate, who's the head of the book a depository building, he told Ventura that he personally doesn't believe the official story because he used to be with Groden. But a bizarre admission when even on the JFK show of Conspiracy Theory with Ventura 2 weeks ago, even the establishment mouthpiece has to say, well, I personally don't really believe the official story. I mean, whoa. But here's the issue. He's had to sue them. They will not allow him to go out and talk to the public in America. And they selectively do it. And this is in Dallas, my hometown. I was born in Parkland, where they took Kennedy and threw the fake bullet on the stretcher. But just amazing. So Robert Groden, JFKmurder.com. Is that the best website to give out, Robert?
Yes, it is, Alex. RobertGroden.com. It's just www.jfkmurder.com.
John, up there at the network, how's Robert Grodin's audio there for you? Yeah, it's very muffled. Just try to speak up as much as you can, Robert. We had you on a few years ago, and it was crystal clear.
Okay.
Okay, now you're pretty clear now. Go ahead and start over.
The website is www.jfkmurder.com. JFK Murder is one word. And anytime that there's anything new relating to all of this, I will definitely put it right on there.
Well, if anybody out there, you probably are the expert. Of course, also Jim Mars is a great expert. He also consulted on the film JFK. You testified to the House committee, to one of the committees, that you thought E. Howard Hunt was a prime suspect. He sued the Spotlight when they said he was one of the shooters, and then he lost. And then he told his son, deathbed confession. We've aired that here. We aired the video first. Rolling Stone carried the text first. Coast to Coast had the audio first. Did a great job. Ian Punnett, I believe, was the first to have that audio. But what an amazing revelation. What's your view on that little tidbit?
Well, back when I testified before the Rockefeller Commission in 1975, I testified that I believed that E. Howard Hunt was part of this, that he was in Dealey Plaza. And, of course, they all laughed. Now that he confessed to it before he passed away, it changes everything. Because if he's involved in it, the people around him could very well be involved with it as well. And that includes Nixon and the Watergate crew.
Well, we have the photographs that look just like him, and we have the tramps being picked up behind the grassy knoll. It's just incredible. We've seen other evidence come out. What we had... major government laboratories a few years ago, even the Dallas Morning News, they tested the bullet. What did they find, Robert?
Well, the thing is, there were so many bullets that were found, they all disappeared except one, and the one that we still have is the so-called magic bullet, the bullet that was supposed to have gone through both President Kennedy and Governor Connolly, which is ludicrous. It's a fairy tale. It never happened. Any number of things are possible. The single bullet theory is absolutely impossible. It could not have happened. And the testing of the stuff that you see on the Discovery Channel on their horrible, dishonest documentaries, they all represent things that are not true. They have the president sitting in the wrong position. They have the bullets entering both the president and Governor Connolly in the wrong places, and this becomes their fact. They show us this silly.
Well, that latest Discovery Channel is produced by a guy who wanted me to be in the last episode. I refused. But it's produced by a guy who openly makes fun of anybody criticizing any corruption and does nothing but specialize in debunking, and the bullets aren't fired from the same spot. I mean, it's all quackery.
You're absolutely right. I would have nothing to do with anything relating to the Discovery Channel. I think they've done 5 or 6 different documentaries. I call them mockumentaries, dealing with different aspects of the Kennedy case, and every one of them is dishonest. I mean, they're not even close to the truth. And the last one, which was called Inside the Target Car, I was actually there when they did it, and they had Mrs. Kennedy sitting slightly behind the president.
Yeah, that's the one with the jelly head with the green slime.
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah, they wanted me to be in that, and I said, no thanks, pal.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have anything to do with it either, but what I did do is I went behind the stockade fence where they were filming from, and I showed them the photographs that they were having the people within the car sitting in the wrong position. They told me to mind my own business, and this includes Gary Mack. He was back there with them. And I told them, I showed them the photographs that Mrs. Kennedy was sitting slightly in front of the president, not slightly behind him. And I didn't know why they were doing that. But we found out when they ran the show. What they had Gary Mack saying was that if the bullet had come from the grassy knoll, we would have had a dead Mrs. Kennedy because the bullet would have gone through the president's head and hit her. Well, that's because they had her sitting in the wrong place. And they knew it.
And we know they know because you were there. What do you think of the curator? It was once one of your colleagues telling Ventura 2 weeks ago that he doesn't even really believe the official story.
Well, he's told me that several times through the years. But the thing is that for him to say it on public television or shows shown to the public on television was absolutely amazing to me that he would admit it. But he did. I was surprised.
I think people just can't go along with propaganda. It's like Geraldo Rivera says 9/11 could be an inside job. Andrew Napolitano came out and said it's like the JFK assassination couldn't happen the way we were told. I mean, I think people can't handle it anymore, Robert. People can see America dying. What do you think of the TSA putting their hands down people's pants and Walmart announcing Big Brother screens with Homeland Security saying spy on other shoppers? I mean, it's almost like it's a cartoon of a ridiculous police state. It's so over the top.
That it is. That it truly is. The things you mentioned, Homeland Security. One of the times that I was harassed in Dealey Plaza, it wasn't the Dallas police. It was Homeland Security, and they showed up with machine guns. And they said I was a terrorist because I was going against the official fiction of what was.
Okay, excuse me. You're a very well-respected researcher. You don't lie. I didn't know this. You should have contacted me, but I actually heard you'd lost my number or couldn't get in contact. And normally you have your assistant with you. I hope you got photos or witnesses. I know you're suing one group over their discrimination, but let's hold the horses right there. When did this happen? What exactly happened? This is getting really dangerous.
Well, the thing with Homeland Security was about a half a dozen years ago. That was a while ago. Everything that's happened... Well,
I don't care, though. I didn't know this. So this is 6 years ago, 2004 or so. Tell us what happened, Robert.
Well, the police had been harassing me one after the other, but what was happening is the Sixth Floor Museum kept calling the police. And apparently, somewhere along the line, they ended up getting in touch with Homeland Security. And these guards came up with these helmets on and machine guns and these gray outfits with black writing on it, said Homeland Security on the back. And they told me I was a terrorist, and they forced me to leave the plaza for the day. I came back the next day, but it was really obscene what they were doing. Everybody who was there trying to hear about what I had to say about the assassination, they were panic-stricken. They walked
Well, that's
away
right. They don't mind the homeless people, but when you're there eloquently laying out the facts, they can't stand it in America. How dare you think you can stand at a park in a public sidewalk off a road and talk to Americans? What do you think this is, America, Robert Groden? How dare you? You may get to testify before Congress or work for Congress. You may get to consult on big Hollywood films, but you don't have the freedom to sit down. Now, it's been in the news that you've been arrested before. Tell us what this harassment has led up to. Now you're having to sue them.
Well, 12 years ago, they started to harass me. I had been there for 3 years, and then all of a sudden the police started showing up on a daily basis, and then for a while almost on an hourly basis, to kick me out of the park. And 7 years ago, they were going to do it again, and my attorney contacted the city and said if they didn't stop, that we would sue. And an agreement was made with the city attorney's office that they would leave me alone if I would not sue. So I dropped it. I